Okay. So you can be grandma and I'll be the ICC worker.
Okay.
Hi, Mrs. Oh, I need to make up a name. Hi, Mrs. White.
Hi, how are you?
Good. Thank you for letting me come visit with you this morning.
No problem.
I wanted to come and just kind of introduce myself. We spoke on the phone, but I am your intensive care coordinator. And when you went to FAP last week, did they explain what intensive care coordination was?
They said that we'd have a worker coming out to try to help little Tim come back home and be safe with us, but I don't really know what it's about.
Yeah, and that's why I'm here today, is to talk about who I am, why I'm here, and how we can really help your family. And so, like I said, the intensive care coordination it's kind of a new service actually in Virginia. And the idea behind it is that you have like a neutral party who comes in and helps facilitate a team that you're going to pick. So right now, you and your son, you and your actual son, are kind of sharing custody for little Tim, right?
Yeah.
And so I got a little bit of information from Holly, who's the CPS worker on the case, and she was actually the person that referred me to FAP. Did you know that?
No.
Okay, so Holly got me involved so that I could help, since you have a unique situation where you are the physical caretaker of Tim. However, your son, who's currently incarcerated, still has legal custody of him. And there are a whole lot of people involved right now, right? Mm-hmm. And so the reason Holly thought I could be helpful is I really come in as a neutral party. So my job is to facilitate a conversation to get all the different... How many different plans are you working on right now?
We have a lot. We're worried about when little Tim comes home from residential, if he's going to move in when his dad gets out, when his dad gets out. So we have a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah. And if I read right in your referral form, there was a lot of aggressive behaviors with him. And so my job will be to help facilitate that conversation, to get all of those plans together so you only are working off of one plan. Okay. And what I'm hearing from you, and you can let me know if I'm wrong, what I'm hearing is that you really are worried about safety and him being able to come home.
Right, exactly.
So tell me a little bit about how things are going, what your big concerns are, and what you're hoping for Tim and your family.
So right now things are okay because it's just my husband and my granddaughter in the house. But Tim is going to start getting home passes soon. And like you said, and he's been in the past pretty aggressive. One of the reasons he went to residential is because he sliced our couch with a knife. And I'm just worried about how he's going to act around his sister. His granddad and I are older. We can't move like we used to. So we want to make sure that we're able to care for him in a way that he's safe and his sister's safe. Not only that, his dad's supposed to be coming home soon, and we would really like for him to be with his dad and have that time with him, but we're unsure about how that's going to work. So our biggest concern is safety, as well as, a final plan for where Tim and his sister will be, if that'll be with dad, if we're going to have to take care of him. We're not even sure how that's going to look.
Sounds like there's a lot of questions up in the air right now, and if I'm hearing you correctly, you haven't really gotten a lot of answers.
Right.
Okay. And when I was talking to Holly, this has been going on actually for a while. So there's been a few years of back and forth and trying to figure all this out. And if I remember correctly, we think Dad's kind of now getting out of prison soon.
Yes.
Okay. So what I'm hearing you say is that our biggest concern is we really need a transition plan, not only for Tim, but also for your son as he's coming out, and then a plan on how they can all work together. And so let me tell you a little bit about how High Fidelity Wraparound is the model that we use. for this intensive care. So I'm the ICC worker, but the model I'm using is high fidelity wraparound.
Okay.
And so some things that could be helpful, I think, is I already talked about having one plan. So I'll get all those different people involved together, and you and your son and all your daughters, if you want them involved. You can tell me about the daughters yet. And Tim will all come together and talk about what the prioritized need is, which right now what I'm hearing from you, and when I met with Tim last week, I'm even hearing from him, is that our prioritized need right now is a really solid safety plan,
Right.
and a really solid transition plan.
Right.
And so we'll all come together and talk about that, and we'll make one plan. So all the different providers in your life will bring their concerns to the table, and as a team, we will work on one thing at a time.
Okay.
And so it actually sounds like we might be working off of two separate things, because your son also is going to need a transition plan, because that's going to affect how Tim comes.
Exactly.
Okay, so we will come together and actually safety plan, or well, in high fidelity wraparound, instead of safety planning, we come up with what's called a Band-Aid plan first.
Okay.
And then we come together as a team, and that just kind of holds the glue together until we get to a place where we actually can do what's called a crisis prevention plan. And once we can do that, then we have something that actually prevents the crisis from coming.
Okay.
Does that sound okay?
Yeah. Yeah.
So we don't want to just, what do we do when we're in a crisis, but what can we do to keep that from even happening?
Okay.
And in high fidelity wraparound, we have a saying that families don't fail, plans fail. So if it doesn't work the first couple of times, we just come back together.
Okay.
And so that'll get us started. There are a couple components to this model that may be helpful. So one of the pieces is natural supports. So natural support is anybody that's not paid to be on your team. So far I've heard dad, your son, or your son, your husband, Tim, his sister. Who else is natural?
I have 3 daughters, 3 adult daughters, so they could possibly help out. I mean, they're very active in the kids' lives, so and they love their brother, so I'm pretty sure that it'd be no issue, and they'd love to help in any way they could.
Fantastic. And so would you be comfortable with signing these releases so that I can contact all of these people?
Yeah.
And kind of and explain to them in the same way I'm explaining to you what this process looks like? Because if they're going to be involved in life, I think it would be great to have them on the team.
Yeah.
Great. Another piece of this is that it's needs-based. So when we were talking about you really wanting a transition plan, that's your prioritized need right now. And even the underlying need of that is that you're just worried that Timmy won't be able to be safe.
Right.
So we'll talk to the whole team and see if everybody agrees on that, but we pick 1 or 2 needs at a time and we tackle those. So we break it down into things that can really, really be helpful, and so it's not too overwhelming. Okay. And then prioritize needs, integrated planning. Oh, and then the integrated planning, the needs, natural supports. And so the goal is that at the end of this, when we know that the service is done, is when you feel like it's done, and you feel like you know what how to manage all of these needs on your own. And my goal would really be that you're letting us know that you and your family feel like you can manage all of Tim's needs without the help of so many supports.
Okay.
Does that sound good?
Yeah.
And in our very first team meeting, what I'm going to be doing over the next couple weeks is meeting with you a couple of times to hear more about your story, hear more about everything that is going on. And then I'm going to be meeting with all the team members, both your natural supports and the professional supports, to just find out what their thoughts and needs and explain this process. And then in a few weeks, we're all going to come together as a group. And at that time, one of the things we'll talk about is what transition looks like, so that we know from the very beginning what we're working towards. Okay. There are a couple other things I need to go over with you. I am a mandated reporter. And so that means that If there's any risk of you or your family members hurting themselves or someone else, that I do need to call Child Protective Services.
Okay.
I will tell you if that happens, I will let whoever that person is know, and always give the family the option to call, or I could call with them. But I like to be upfront with that.
Okay.
And talk about that. If that does happen, what would be the best way you think you or your family would like to hear that news?
I think I would just prefer if you called us and let us know that you planned on doing that, and maybe explain what you saw so we could know and be prepared for next time to correct that mistake.
Absolutely. And really this process is meant to be pretty transparent. So
Okay.
my hope and my expectation, my only expectation really, is that people we're all working together as a team, and not just on the family, but your whole team, so that we're all coming together to talk about what's going on, so there's no side conversations about you and your family.
Okay.
And things are all happening in that team process. So the expectation for me is to do that as well,
Okay.
which is what I would do with a CPS call. But what questions do you have so far?
I guess nothing yet. I just want to see how it goes, I guess. You said you'd be coming to meet with us for a couple of times, and then we'll have a team meeting. And my daughters don't have to be on the team if they don't want to. It's suggested. We would like them to.
And if you would like to let them know, kind of give them a heads up that I'll be calling, that's absolutely
Okay.
fine too. Yeah, nobody's forced to be on the team. However, if they are already really, really involved, it might make sense for them to be on the team so that they can give their feedback and their input.
Okay.
And we also have a parent support partner on our team as well, who unfortunately she wasn't able to come today. But her role is she is a parent of a child who also had mental health needs, and navigated a bunch of different systems, kind of like the systems you're navigating now. And her role is going to be a real support for you and your family to ensure that your voice is heard.
Okay.
But she also can work with your son and work with just somebody that's really dedicated to the family members.
Okay.
To make sure that your needs are being heard, and that all of us, including myself, are hearing what you're actually saying. So she will be reaching out to you as well, and you guys can kind of talk about what would be most helpful with her on the team.
Okay, that sounds good.
Okay, great. And so we talked a little bit about safety planning. The residential program that Tim is in now actually has a safety plan, and they've actually worked with. Were you a part of that process? Have you seen this plan?
Yeah, I've seen it before.
Okay. And do you feel good about it?
Yeah, I feel fine about it for now. We'll see how it is when he gets home.
Yep. And so my thought is we use that as what we call our Band-Aid plan. We're going to try it for this upcoming pass and see how it works. And then, as you see, there's a list of people on the bottom that you can call if anything is wrong. And the first person on there is is one of your daughters as a natural support, and there's a list of people that go down. Does that list look okay?
Yeah, it looks fine.
Okay, good. So we will try that, and I know his first home pass is this weekend.
Yeah.
So maybe I can come out. Could I come out on Monday or Tuesday?
Yeah, sure.
And we can revisit that, talk about how the plan worked, and if it worked, that's great. And if we need to tweak it, we'll tweak it. And between now and that first team meeting, I'll start working through what's called a functional assessment and learn about the triggers and everything else that's going on with your grandson. And we will develop a really good prevention plan for before he comes home. So when he comes home, that's already in place. And then we'll continue to look at that through as we go through the process.
Okay.
Because I know safety is our number one concern. Any other concerns or needs that we need to tackle today?
No, not right now.
All right. Well, here's my business card. And if you have any concerns, you have your safety plan in front of you and your what we call high fidelity wraparound and Band-Aid plan. And you have my phone number as well as Holly's, as well as the case managers over at the residential program. So give us a call. Otherwise, I will see you Monday.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.